Alright, so this video did not record with my audio, which is fine. So I'm just doing a voiceover in Premiere Pro, where I loaded this video that you're watching into Premiere Pro, and in the timeline I ended up selecting the little microphone in one of the empty audio slots, and I'm just voiceover recording myself now. So to recap what we went over, the first thing we did was the video transitions and audio transitions, which you open up through that window effects, and that's different than the effect controls. So the effects tools, or the effects window, controls your audio and your color settings, and what we went over today, or what we're going over in this recap, is video transitions. So here I am just muting the audio to sort of show how this video starts off with the white screen, or white title screen. So I'm adding in a transition, or a video transition, where it fades from black into the video content. So see here, I'm just clicking on that dip to black, dragging it right to the beginning, or right where I want it in that video clip. You can do it in the beginning, you can do it in the end. You just have to have it somewhere on the clip, and then you can adjust the length of that transition. So here is it without the transition. And what sucks is when you don't record your audio, you forget what you were saying in that original video. But I think I was just playing around with a couple different transitions. This one was a slide, so it slides into place. And you can also add transitions between clips, which adds like a nice, takes away that abruptness. So here this clip ends, and then the next one begins, just like suddenly, boom, there it is. So we're gonna add a transition between, and I'm just clicking and dragging that transition, and then I'm going to lengthen it. So it's a nice smooth transition between visual clips. So adding in some external audio, I'm just dragging it right into my project window. And then dragging it into my timeline. Just because some of the clips don't come with audio. But we can do the same transition effects, or similar transition effects, on the audio. We can have it fade in so music doesn't just like abruptly show up. We can cut audio, we can move audio, but these, adding a constant gain at the beginning so it builds up that level of loudness, and then a constant fade at the end so it kind of smooths out. We don't just, the video doesn't end and then there's still music playing. It all feels a lot more seamless and put together when things are given those like rounded, I would call it almost like a rounded edge. You're rounding the edge of that audio off, so we're not like left with like this insane sound at the end, or like high visuals. We're adding those just like smooth, like enter and exit points for our media. So here I am adding text to my video, right on top of my video through the text tool in the tool panel. And you can extend how long or how short you want that text to be on the screen. But you see it just like the text pops up and then disappears. So just like our video clips, we can add those video transitions so we have smooth entry and exit points for that content on top of our media. So see here, it sort of gently comes in and then gently leaves, fades away. Of course, we can extend the length of that. And then here I am adding just a shape just from the rectangle tool. You can also use the pen tool, which is right on top. Same thing, extend the length of time that it's on screen, add in those transitions. But here I am showing that you can do keyframing with these shapes. In the effect controls panel, we can adjust the color. Which I'm doing here. Just make sure you press that little arrow next to that eyeball on shape to open that panel up to make adjustments. So you can add like a stroke or like an outline to this. You can add a drop shadow, which I'm doing right now. I'm just moving it over on the screen. And you could add text on top of this too. So you could have like a little info panel of like, this is the river. So here I'm just moving away and I'm going to keyframe its movement in. So I'm doing that through, still in that shape control panel, I'm changing its position, making sure I activate that keyframe, moving my timeline over, and then changing the position of where that is. So we get a nice slide to the left with that shape. And eventually this will just slide off the screen. So what that looks like is this. Nice smooth transition off screen. Boom, done. And I'm also going to keyframe the scale so we can obviously have, or if it's not obvious, I'm not sure, but we can keyframe multiple animations to each media. So I'm not only changing the scale, but or I'm not only moving it to the left, but I'm changing the scale at the same time, so it's moving and shrinking at the same time. And that will look like this. So this would be nice if you had like a little piece of like maybe a little info card or like fun fact that just like pops up and then fades away on the screen. So we can also, speaking of like scaling objects and shapes, we can also scale and position and rotate our piece of media. So right here, I'm just changing the position and make sure my video clip is selected. I'm going through the position. The first number is going to be X, the second number is going to be Y. So changing position, scale, the rotation, and then our anchor point, which that's considered like the origin point of this piece of media. We can change where that is to adjust like how does it rotate. And this is really great in like animation. So it's not necessarily something, you could definitely use it in video editing, but it's predominantly used in like animation and like rigging like body parts that are going to be moved. So you could rig like an arm to rotate from, the socket, for example. So the other thing we were talking about on Tuesday was adjusting things like the speed and duration of audio and video, which we're just right-clicking speed, duration, and then we can adjust how long, how short. This can draw out your audio or shorten your audio if you want to get like a fast forward sound kind of thing. And I'm also showing you guys you can unlink your audio. So we're just clicking that video clip, and when we click that video, the audio is also highlighted. So we right click, unlink, and then that audio is now separate from the video. Because when we start cutting up with our razor tool, you see the audio moves around with it. But now that it's unlinked, I can move the video without moving that audio around, which is really nice. If you're wanting to save that audio. So I'm also showing you guys how you can adjust the speed and duration of your video clips. If this is really great if you're doing like a time lapse, or you just want to show a lot of content really, really fast, as you see here. And then I'm showing you, I think I did the speed. Also talking about the audio gain. If sometimes you bring in audio that is just like a little too loud or maybe a little too soft, we can adjust the decibel value of the audio. I just recommend don't go too overboard with this number. I would say adjust by increments of positive or -1 or 2. Play it, see how it sounds, and then readjust. You probably don't need more than like +10 or -10, but of course that would depend on the audio. And I think that's it. I think that's all we covered. Yeah, awesome, cool.